In this video, we will see how we can add our checkbox, okay? And we will also see how we can add this on terms and condition text, okay? And we will also add this one. I already have an account and this login button, okay? So enough talking, let's dive to our code. So yeah, the first thing we want to do, we want to add an hashtag. And inside this hashtag, what we want an image, okay? We want this square image, okay? So here it's gonna to be image, and for the name we want it to be square. And look at that, we have this on square image, okay? So what we want to do, we want to add some modifier on this one, okay? So what we can do, we can add this on foreground color. And for the color, what we want the color gray. So it's gonna to be that gray, okay? And the next thing we want to do, we want to add this font. So that font, and the size we want a size of 20. Okay, perfect. So we have our checkbox, okay, as you guys can see. But now what we want to do, we want to be able to toggle it, okay? Because right now if we tap on this guy, nothing will happen, okay? So what we can do, we can add a state, okay? So if we go up here, what we can do here, we can add a state variable. So it's gonna to be that state private var, and we will call it isCheck, and it's gonna to be a boolean, of course, and we want to initialize it to false, okay? Now that we have this on isCheck, what we can do here for image, what we can do, we can instead of an image, we can simply put a button, okay? Because we want it to be clickable. So here is gonna to be button. For the action, for now we can leave it empty, okay? And here we will put the container of our button, okay? So what we can do, we can simply come here and cut this image, okay? And for the content of our button, we want this image, okay? So now normally if we print something here, so let's print checkbox tab, and normally if we now tap on this checkbox, normally it's supposed to print something here. And as you guys can see, every time we tap on this checkbox, it will add this checkbox tab, okay, which is good. So now what we want to do here, instead of printing something, we don't want this. So what we want to do, we simply want to toggle this is checked, okay? So it's going to be served that is checked, and we simply want to toggle this. Okay, perfect. Now that the value of this guy toggle, what we want to do, as you guys can see here, anytime we toggle this to true, we want a different image, okay? So here, what we will say, here for this system name, we don't want it to be always square, okay? So what we want to do, here we want to say that, okay, in case this is checked, in case this is true, okay, we want a different image, okay? And in case this is false, we want this square image, okay? And the name of our image here, we will use this check mark, that square, that fill, okay? So now every time this guy will be true, we will show this image, okay? And every time this guy will be false, we will show this square, okay? Let me maybe close this guy so that you guys can see better. Okay, so, and we can put this like this. So anytime this is true, we show this one, and anytime this is false, we show this square image, okay? And to show you guys that it's working, let's change this to true. Okay, and normally we are supposed to have this on check mark, let's say. Okay, and as you guys can see, the icon will change, okay? So let's put this guy back to false. And now normally if we tap on this guy, it's supposed to change, okay? And as you can see, it changes, okay? So the next thing we want to do, we want to change the color, okay? Because as you guys can see, this icon will have the same colors of our button, okay? So what we want to do, we want to go back here and we want to apply the same logic, okay, for this color. So we want the color gray only when this guy is false, and when it's true, we want our primary color, okay? So we can even copy this. So for this foreground color, if this is true, So if this check is true, what we want this color my primary color. And in case this guy is false, we want this that gray color. Okay, perfect. And normally everything is supposed to work perfectly, okay? And as you guys can see, everything is working. So the next thing we want to do, we want to add this text, okay? By clicking sign up, you agree to our terms and condition, okay? So how can we do that? Since this button is inside this hashtag, so what we can do, after this button, we can simply add a text, okay? So it's going to be text. And here for the content of our text, we want this by clicking sign up, you agree to our terms and condition, okay? So what I can do, I can simply copy it from the finished code and paste it here. And here we want to add a font, so it's going to be that font. And here for our font, we want a size of 15. And now for this terms and condition, it's going to be a little bit tricky, okay? Because as you guys can see, this is not a simple text, okay? Because this terms and condition is supposed to be clickable, okay? So normally it's supposed to direct us to our terms and condition, okay? So what we can do, instead of simply adding this text, what we can do, we can add a button, okay? So here we want to wrap this text into a hashtag, okay? So we embed this inside a hashtag. So after this text, what we want to do, we want to add a button. And for the action, for now, we can leave it empty. And here for the content of our button, what we want another text, okay? So we can simply copy this and paste it here. But here, instead of this text, what we want this on terms and condition, okay? So terms and conditions. And here it's giving us an error simply because we forgot this one, okay? And normally everything should be okay. And as you guys can see, you have this by clicking on sign up, you agree to our terms and condition. And this guy is clickable, okay? So what we want to do now, we want to polish this guy, okay? So the first thing we want to do, we want to change the size of this guy. We want it to be bigger, and we also want it to be bold. The next thing, we can change the foreground color, and we want it to be black, and normally this should turn black, okay? So now we have a problem because this is an hashtag, okay? So it sees this text and this button as two elements, which is the right thing to do. But on a finished app, as you guys can see, we want to simulate the fact that this is a single line, okay? And this is just the return to a new line, okay? So we want to simulate this, okay? And when I was doing my research about this video, I couldn't find a way to do this, like in the right way to do this. I will put it this way, okay? I couldn't find the right way to do this. So what I did was a little bit tricky, okay? So what I ended up doing is I put this inside a VStack, okay? So this one is on top of our VStack, and then we have these conditions, okay? But I know this is not the best way of doing this, okay? So if you guys know a better way of doing this, please drop it in the comments, okay? So here, what we will do, we will simply put this A stack into a V stack, okay? So now that we have this V stack, what we can do, we can copy this button, and here after this A stack, we can paste a button, okay? And here, instead of terms and conditions, we can remove this, and we can also remove this condition here, okay? And as you guys can see, we are able to at least click this, okay? So we are making it feel like, okay, this is just a second line, okay? But now you have to polish it, okay? Because right now it does not look like a finished app, okay? So yeah, on this VStack, what we want to do, we want to add an alignment, and we will set it to that leading, okay? And we also want to add a spacing. And on this hashtag, we also want to add a spacing, okay? And as you guys can see, it's getting close to a finished app, okay? And the next thing we want to do, we want to add some padding, okay? So on this VStack, what we can do, we can add that padding, and we want the padding to be at the top. Okay, and as you guys can see, it's looking exactly as our finished app, okay? Except for this N icon, okay? So yeah, instead of this N, what we want this N icon. Okay, perfect. I think it's looking good. Okay, so as we said earlier, the next thing we want to do, we want to add this on. I already have an account. Okay, so yeah, after this on this tag, what we can do, we can add another h tag down here, and inside this h tag, what we want this text. Okay, so what we can do, we can simply copy this and paste it here inside this on h tag, but we simply want to change the text. Okay, and instead of this text, what we want this already have an account. Okay, and oops, I think we put this in a wrong spot, so let me remove this. And we don't want to put this guy inside this on h tag, so we want to be out of this h tag. Okay, and we want to paste this guy here. Okay, perfect. Everything is looking good. And the next thing we want to add this login button. So what we can do, we can go back on this h tag and simply copy one of our button. So we can copy this guy, and now we can go here and simply paste it. And here, instead of this terms n, what we want is login. And for our foreground color, yeah, we don't want this on black color. What we want is my primary color. Oops, and I forgot to add this color first. So it's going to be color, and we want this my primary color. Okay, and as you can see, we change the color of this login button. Okay, so what we want, the next thing we want to do, we want to center this. Okay, because on our finish app, as you can see, this is center. Okay, so what we can do, we can simply add some spacer here. So here, before this text, we can add this spacer, and at the end of this h tag, we can also add another spacer. And normally it's supposed to center the content of this h tag. Okay, so I think everything is looking exactly as a finished app. Okay, so which is good. So the next thing we want to do, we want to add this button. Okay, and we will do it in the next video. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this. If that's the case, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye bye.